Hey guys, this is Kim. Welcome to your October 2016 monthly forecast reading. So I'll be using the Universal Fantasy Tarot and I will walk you through the setup. I have a heart-shaped soapstone for positive habit building and gentle encouragement for the future. Also have a black obsidian over here for grounding and truth, and then have a moonstone over here for intuition and connecting with your inner resources. And each of these crystals are accompanied by a Hello Kitty. So they're just there for me to kind of, because I've been working with my inner child archetype lately, and they're just there for me to kind of just have this really playful and creative and carefree energy. So and since I'm an Asian girl, Hello Kitty is obviously a big part of my childhood. So for you, yeah, you might not be into Hello Kitty, but just know that they're there. So for me to get into this sort of really sweet energy of trying to bring something, like bring as I try to bring forth the tarot message. So I just thought I would put them there. They can be my little guardian angels in a way. But yeah, so they'll be there for the rest of the reading, so I hope you don't mind. And just a little note slash announcement. So I know I'm not really doing like a monthly reading for, say, each of the horoscope or for all of the sun signs. One reason for that is I'm interested in astrology. I have a pretty, well, I wouldn't say I have a basic understanding. I have like a pretty good understanding of it, but it's not like, it's more like a kind of like just something I read on and off about. So I didn't really study into astrology, so I feel like I don't really know how to contextualize a reading for each astrological sign in that way. But I am thinking of ways to sort of cater monthly readings for different types of people or for people who have different energies. I was thinking maybe elements could be a way to do that. But yeah, still cooking up some stuff in my creative pod. So just stay tuned. I think I'll come up with something interesting next month and I'll experiment with that a little bit. But yeah, for this month is just uh, a monthly forecast for those of you who are watching, and I hope this reading will be useful to you. And we shall begin. And just so you know, I'm kind of sitting on the side, so I hope I don't destroy the shuffling process, because I actually just like the card actually the deck actually exploded earlier because the angle was so strange. But I'm gonna do my best, and even when I flip over the cards, I'll do my best. So yeah, and oh, also I don't read reversals. I only read upright cards. So just putting that out there. So I'm gonna shuffle. I'm gonna ask, what do you guys need to know right now? What do you, Spirit Wayfarers, need to know about the upcoming month? All right, here we go. So I hope the card flipping process isn't too strange. Okay, there we go. It's the first card. Oops, here we go. All right, let's take a look at what's there. We got the Knave of Cups, which is the Page of Cups. Oh, we got the Knight of Pentacles. He's one of my favorite courts in this deck. As you can see, the Knight riding a squirrel. It's over there. Got two tens side by side. And got the Moon and also the Hierophant. All right, so right away I can tell this can already apply to me, but I think since you're watching this video, since you're kind of on the similar wavelength and frequency as me, so I'm pretty sure these cards will apply to you too. So let me just start by sort of addressing the spread as a whole without going to the individual positions. So it kind of looks like you're at a point where you're sort of at the end of a chapter. You're about to close that chapter, as evidenced by the two tens, and you're sort of at a place where you have more to give, and you have accumulated enough knowledge and experience to be able to teach something, to be able to give something to others, to be able to help other people along their journey. You'll be able to lend a hand, and this is also a place of sort of delicious future planning. As you can see, the Knave of Cups is there, and he's all about imagining, making new connections, and having this fresh perspective about the world, and then kind of experimenting with new ideas and through active dreaming and that kind of thing. But at the same time, you're also seasoned enough to know that, okay, you need to actually plan and be productive and everything. So Nine of Pentacles is there to lend a hand, and also the Queen of Pentacles. So you're a dreamer, but you're also a doer, and you're just bursting with creative energy, and you're ready to step into this next phase, and you're able to you're kind of going through the motions. You're closing this chapter of your life, this current chapter, and you're kind of tying up the loose ends. You're doing some reflections, and you're slowly transitioning to the next phase, or the next kind of frequency, or the next sort of way of life, not as in like a drastic change in your way of life, but in just the way that your perspective is very different, and you have this renewed sense of living, if that makes sense. It's kind of like you feel like you're beginning a new chapter, and this sense of beginning is really prominent. Okay, so let's take a look at the overarching theme. Let's take a look at your core energies, and let's define your focus and the main direction for October. So it looks like, I'll just put it here so you can take a look. So your overarching theme is represented by the Page of Cups, or the Knave of Cups. And just looking at it, the first thing the first thing I see is the ginormous magical fish next to the Knave of Cups, and that just tells me that you have a monstrous, in a wonderful way, this monstrous dream right next to you, and it's sort of like you're doing this dance with it. You guys are great buddies, and you're gonna support each other along the way, and each of you have, you both have something unique and different to teach. To teach each other. You're going on an adventure together, but before that, you're just sort of like dreaming together. You're sort of appreciating each other's presence. You're sort of just this sort of feeling of new things taking shape, being born, and it's like a really magical and wondrous feeling, and you're kind of just allowing the magic to come into your life. And by this stage, it's sort of like still at the beginning stage, and you're just about to embark on your journey. It's that pre-journey dreaming, or just that, that excitement that you get before you actually do something exciting. I used to get that when I was a kid. I remember every time we have a huge event, I remember those Disney skating shows or whatever. Then the night before, I would just not be able to sleep. So I think it's that sort of feeling. It's like something good is coming over, something amazing is coming your way. So you're sort of really stoked about it, and you're ready to begin. You're ready to do the hard work. You're ready to dream. You're ready to put everything together. You're ready to just embrace these new energies coming into your life. Okay, so let's take a look at your power up cards. So what will give you strength this month? So this could be ways to empower yourself, ways to show up for yourself, and ways to tap into your courage reserves. Okay, so that is represented by the Hierophant. And I think I was saying before, the Hierophant for me is always the teacher card, and I think it doesn't have to mean that, oh, you're a teacher, or you're sort of like have a clear role of being a teacher. Like, it doesn't mean your occupation have to be a teacher. It just means that you probably are at a point where you have the capacity to impart teaching, where you are able to give something and teach something to others. And I think over the next few weeks in October, maybe when you're feeling doubt, when you're feeling like, oh my god, you're such a noob, like there are other people who do it better than me, I'm not good enough, I'm not skilled enough, like I can't do this. I think when you have those doubts, I think you just need to remind yourself that even though that there are probably people doing it better than you, it could be just because they've been doing it longer, they started earlier, they're older, whatever those reasons are, you just need to look at yourself and realize that there is something like only you can teach, only like if you're in the spiritual business, if you're in the heart center business, you might be like, oh my god, this person is so much more wise, it's so much more eloquent, and like how can I ever measure to that ideal, right? But you shouldn't compare yourself to others. You just need to look at yourself and understand that there's only something you are able to teach. Someone is going to respond to your unique perspective, someone is going to respond to your unique teaching. And yeah, like teaching and learning, it's a spectrum, right? Everybody has a different way of learning, everybody has a different like there's a type of teacher that everybody prefers. So for example, a more creative and sort of free-willing teacher might not appeal to a student who wants more like more format and more structure and just strict memorization or something. So just like just remind yourself that you might not be everybody's cup of tea, but there's something in you that you're like only you are able to give, that like only you can teach that. So yeah, so if you're ever having doubts about your own capabilities, just tell yourself that you're unique, you're a unique teacher, you're a teacher in your own right, and you have this unique light in you. So don't ever falter, don't ever doubt yourself. All right, so your challenge, so something that might require feats of courage from you, the next showdown with life in which you prove yourself and rise. So this is a challenge for you. And the challenge is never a negative thing, because I believe personally that a challenge shows up only when you're ready. So if something's like giving you a shitty time, then that means it's time for you to go above and beyond. It's time for you to tap into that courage that you have, because you can totally do it, you can totally handle it. And this card, your challenge card, is the Knight of Pentacles. So as you can see, the Knight of Pentacles is riding a squirrel, and I love this card because if you think about it, if you ride a squirrel as a steed, that doesn't seem very impressive and that seems almost funny or ridiculous. But you have to know that the Knight of Cups, no, not the Knight of Cups, sorry, the Knight of Pentacles is his knight, right? So in his world, it makes perfect sense. Like the squirrel is the perfect seat for him. It's not too big, it's not too small, even though relatively speaking, a squirrel might be like really slow, or somebody might step on it, like much slower than a horse or whatever. But you just have to know that like this squirrel is, whatever pace that is happening, like when it comes to work or being productive, it's the perfect pace for you. So a challenge for you this month could be that maybe you're gonna get impatient, maybe you feel like there's no progress, maybe you feel like you're at a disadvantage. But I think a way to kind of circumvent or just kind of deal with this challenge is to really take a look at what you have accomplished, and really take a look at who you are as a person, and what your pace is like, right? Because everybody has a different way of being productive, and the most important thing is to know what works for you. Like what's productive for you might not be productive for another person. For example, I have a friend, she's always working, she's on a very tight schedule, she actually sections her day off like by 30 minutes, by the hour. And personally, I can't do that, right? I can't drive myself to follow that kind of timetable. I'm more organic, intuitive when it comes to working, and that's working pretty well for me. So yeah, a challenge for you, when you feel impatient, or when you feel like it's not going anywhere, it's not going as fast as you want, or you're not being as productive as you want, I think you just have to take a step back and just know that you're progressing at a pace that's perfect for you. So, and you also maybe to, if you want to do some exploring, it's also good to, yeah, it's also good to remember that you can also sort of create a plan that works for you, right? You have to take into account of who you are, what your natural pace is, what your work style is like. So you have to take a look at all those things and not play the comparison game, basically. All right. So a lesson for you this month. So it's what you will learn, new wisdom or renewed perspective, stuff like that. So a lesson for you is the Queen of Pentacles. So right away, I'm just thinking, I think other than yourself, you might feel compelled, or you might feel that you have this obligation to take care of others or respond to other people's, when they ask for favors, you feel the need to respond, or you might be prioritizing a lot of things. I mean, you might be doing some of your own things, but I think you also feel the need to, or there might be a need to sort of take a look at, like a need to sort of respond to the needs of others this month, maybe more so than you've anticipated. And I think this is a lesson where, like, self-care just comes to mind. I think the Queen of Pentacles, she's always the practical mother, right? She'll sort of force you to eat soup just to warm you up, and then she's gonna teach you how to cook the soup so you can do it for yourself in the future. So I think a lesson here is like, maybe for the upcoming month, you will feel there may be lots of people asking you for favors, or they may be a lot of other things in your life that are demanding your attention. But I think the idea here is the lesson that you're going to learn is you're going to learn how to be autonomous in a way that you're going to train or help others, help them become independent and autonomous. So you're taking care of them by teaching them how they can take care of themselves. So I think the way through maybe some of the demands they're going to be made off you in October is that you might have to make time for those people, and you might have to actually use your teacher muscle, remembering where you can teach them how to be independent or be on their own, how to deal with things, their situations on their own. So that could be a big lesson, and probably think probably like deep down inside of you, you have the desire to just help them and just like do it for them and just help them finish. But the lesson for you here is probably you have to remember that you're helping them more by teaching them how to help themselves. So that means giving them space, giving them a chance to try, and also giving yourself the room to breathe and just take a step back and just focus on your own things. Okay, let's take a look at your prosperity and finance card. So this mostly has to do with money, health, mostly money, and just kind of your sense of abundance, really. So what you can expect from the abundance department, things has to do with ownership, currency, money, or your sense of wealth and flow and that kind of thing. Okay, and this card is represented by the moon. That's interesting because the moon is usually has to do with like imagination and journeying and all your shadowscapes and whatnot. So on this card, it's a little bit out of focus, but I'll hold it here so you can see. Kind of looks like two sort of indigenous people, or tribal, like very tribal feeling, or kind of really shamanistic feeling. There's this gate, and you're kind of entering the dream realm, and then there's like the moon, and there's these like silver strands, and it's really pretty. So I think when it comes to prosperity and finance, what you can expect from the abundance department, that's interesting. You get the moon card. I think maybe for the upcoming month, numbers or figures, they're probably not going to be as important as maybe what you attach, like the meanings that you attach those numbers and figures. So So let me think. So it's kind of like it's not necessarily how much you make or how much you earn, or it's not really about the numbers. It's really about maybe it's more about your relationship with money, and it's about what you want to achieve. Like, when it comes to the moon card, it's kind of like a state of having, it's like a half illumination, right? So I think maybe you have an intention for money, you have goals for money, like maybe how much you want to make by then, or you want to manifest this amount of money in this amount of time. Maybe it's not really about that. I think you maybe have it in the back of your head, but I think there's also a lot of things in your life that are sort of distracting you from it, and there's different things that you're worrying about, and you're kind of shoving that financial concern just under the carpet. So it's not that you don't care, it's just that maybe in the upcoming month it's going to be a little bit fuzzy, and you're probably going to be dealing with other things, such as maybe how you define abundance, or how you are kind of just digging deep about really like how much do you want this amount of money, or like kind of just looking at your own desires and looking at where you want to go in the future, and also looking at maybe some of the doubts and insecurities that you have with money. So I think it's probably going to be a very reflective month. It's sort of going to be this sort of half dream, half real sort of state where you drift in and out of maybe worrying about money, having really practical concerns, and then you sort of just drift out of that zone and just think about, okay, maybe there's a spiritual angle to this, or I have these things to worry about, or kind of just this half dreaming, half reality state, I feel. I think that's what that card's saying. All right, and when it comes to career and work, you are represented, that is represented by the Ten of Wands. So I kind of like this version of the Ten of Wands because it's not this bite of more than you could chew card. It's not the super stressed out card that you usually see in Rider-Waite or Rider-Waite copycats. You see this artist, and he is drawing on a canvas, and he's kind of like doing a portrait. And then the wands are sort of the wooden sticks. They're tied together to form the canvas. And I kind of like this idea. It's sort of like it's not necessarily you're stressed out, you're tired. I mean, he could be on a deadline or something. So I think it's more like it's not like you're getting tired of what. It's not like you're having too much to do. I think it's maybe you're pressured with time. So there's a lot of deadlines, and there's also the sense of like you're tired of what you've been doing. You have maybe when you come to, maybe your work is really boring you, and maybe it's not necessarily you hate it. It's something you enjoyed to a certain degree, but you feel like something's missing. You're really looking for something new, right? Going back to the Page of Pentacles or Knave of Pentacles, and you're sort of at this like you're at this place in your job where okay, you've established yourself, and then in this particular area of work, and you've done like maybe you have like lots of experience with that job and with that line of work, but maybe you're just seeking a new perspective. You're looking to grow, and then you're sort of like getting bored, and you feel like maybe you should call it a day and then just maybe move on to something new. But it's not like you just want it to end because you don't really hate it that much per se. So I think it's that sort of, I think the moon energy is kind of seeping through here. It's sort of like you're kind of like just in between worlds in a way. Yeah, you don't really know if you should completely give something up because you don't feel the need to, but at the same time there's some new ideas and new worlds that are enticing to you that you kind of want to step into. And yeah, I think it's kind of reflecting that. So in the upcoming month, there might be moments like that where you question, like, should you stay in one job? Should you pursue something new? Kind of in between worlds. But I think like Ten of Wands represents the end of a cycle. So I think a good way to sort of re-electrify your practice is going back to the Hierophant card, is maybe think about what you're able to teach and what you're able to give, like all the knowledge and perspective you've accumulated, like could you maybe gift it to another person? Could this be another way to re-energize your practice? Right? Think of new ways of approaching something. Do some studying, read, stay informed, read more articles about what your practice is about. Look into what other people are doing, right? Because that's what teachers do, right? To teach something, you have to, must be already learned within your system, and to teach is to learn, right? So in order to teach something new, or in order to do something new, maybe you need to learn something new, maybe you need to expand, maybe you need to step into a new cycle and experiment with some new ideas, just like the Page of Pentacles. Okay, next, relationship, social. All right, so this card is a forecast of relationships. So it doesn't have to be romantic relationships. It could be family, friends, romantic partners, and just people in general. So what you can expect from the people department, really. Okay, so you see this scholarly dude studying a huge map. It's a little bit out of focus up close, but yeah, I'll hold it up here so you can see. So he's studying that map, and he's kind of figuring out where he wants to go next. So I think when it comes to relationships, I think maybe with certain people you have already learned your lessons from them, and you have already learned what you can from them, and now it's a time maybe you're thinking about like trying on new relationships. So it doesn't have to be, romantic, it could be friends. You're looking to experience new types of relationships, relationships that you haven't had before. So maybe if you're really used to being in negative relationship cycles, and you're sort of always sort of encountering really toxic people, or people who are just draining your energy, and maybe you're looking to expand your relationships and meet some new people, and and um, just kind of allowing new relationships to come into your life. And I think the key thing for this card is that, since it's the Two of Wands, I feel like in order for that to happen, you have to create opportunities for those relationships to manifest. Maybe you have to go out. I'm not saying you just have to go out there and club or something, and just go clubbing or something, but you can go out and then just meet some new friends, or when your friends are bringing in new friends, you should just go in and just kind of broaden your social circle, and then just, it sounds really cliche, but kind of like put yourself out there, but not in a super artificial way, I guess, if you know what I mean. It's just kind of just be open, and if there's a new event that you haven't checked out and it's also something you're interested in, you should go, just because you want to meet people who are aligned with your interests, right? You want to, go to places, or you want to participate in events that you enjoy, and you'll meet similar people who also enjoy the same, similar things as you do. So kind of just go with the flow, but definitely keep an open mind and try to open yourself up to different new things that you haven't tried before. So with new things or new situations or new places, there will always be new people, right? So yeah, there's the Two of Wands. Okay, so the last card, number 8, is your Spirit and Spirituality card. So this card represents what you can expect, things that could happen, when it comes to your relationship with Spirit or God, universe, whatever, however you define it. It has to do with faith, openness, intuition, things of synchronicity and energy and that kind of thing. So I got the Ten of Pentacles here. It's interesting. So I think Ten of Pentacles for me, really speaks to family and having your feet planted in reality. So I think maybe in the upcoming month, you're gonna find probably there's gonna be less chances for you to do this stereotypically spiritual stuff. Like maybe there's less chances for you to meditate, to pray, to to self-reflect, or to do tarot readings or stuff like that, things that seem really logical when it comes to like, connecting with energy or the spirit or the divine. I think in an upcoming month, there will be opportunities for you to explore spirituality in a different way, in a really practical way. I think there's so many ways of being spiritual, and one way of being spiritual is to take care of yourself and also take care of the people around you, and kind of creating balance through productive action and practical action and stuff like that. So I think Ten of Pentacles really speak to that. I think in the upcoming month in October, you may feel like, you know, you don't have a lot of chance to meditate or pray or do the typical spiritual practice or habits that you usually engage in. But I think about it in this way that, you know, there are different ways of showing up for yourself and showing up for spirit. You know, when you're taking care of others, it's a way of showing your compassion. It's a way of practicing being a human, and it's another way of being spiritual, and it's another way to grow spiritually. So don't feel like you're maybe sacrificing your hermit or solitude or spiritual time. I think in the upcoming month it's going to be a little bit hectic in a way that there's going to be lots of people, lots of things happening, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just another chance for you to grow and be more courageous and explore a different way of being spiritual, and explore a way that is more sort of like more grounded in a reality that you're in, you know, more grounded in a family, or maybe dealing with relationships and you know, dealing with the more gritty stuff in life. And but I think this will cultivate a sense of unity with between you and the people around you, and that's an earthy sort of spirituality. I feel it's like this earthy connection with yourself and with people around you, and also caring for them. So I think that's what I'm getting from this card. Alright, so the last card, which I didn't draw yet, is the message or advice from the spirit, God, universe, or higher self. So it's kind of like the divine guidance card. So I will be using the Enchanted map for that, just like last time. And reason being, I just honestly love this deck as a storytelling motif and as a traveling and journeying motif. And again, I'm only going to read like upright, even though this deck is totally reversible. So here we go. So what does Spirit want to tell you about October? Again, I'm shuffling sideways with my body bent in a really awkward way because I want to get out of the camera's way. Okay, so what do you guys need to know? Wide open. Oops, killed that Hello Kitty over there. Wide open. I feel like that's the card I got last month. I don't remember, but anyway, wide open is her card. So I think it kind of ties in with a lot of things I've been saying already. It's kind of just keeping an open mind, keeping an open perspective, being open to new things, but at the same time recognizing where you are and where you stand. So in the image, there's this woman and she's standing on top of a rock or on top of the mountain peak or something. So I think maybe that's the part that we usually forget, is when we see this open sky, when we start to open up to new possibilities, when we see so many new things, or just these open spaces ready for us to feel, we forget that the things that we accomplished, the things we've already done to get to this point. Because when we meet that vast open sky, we might be excited, but I think we might also be frightened about all these empty spaces. Like we might see it as a void, we might see it as, oh my god, there's so much more I have to do, there's so much road I have to travel, there's so much more these spaces that I have to feel, I need to create more. And you start looking around and you're just like, oh my god, that person's already at that mountain peak and this person already built a city or whatever. You start to see maybe more successful people in your field of work, and you start getting frightened or insecure about it. And I think that's the thing with wanting to try new grounds, is when you open yourself up, when you step into a new energy, when you step into a new project, when you step into a new vision, you're going to see other people who have similar visions. You're going to see maybe people who have already traveled that way, and you're going to see people who seem more successful than you, and you're going to play the toxic comparison game. And it's a little bit frightening, but I think it's pretty normal. Like, we're all human, you know, it's okay to feel that way once in a while, but I think the most important part is to, when you're sort of thinking those thoughts, you just have to snap yourself out of it and just kind of find a way to cope with it. And the way to cope with it, I feel, is you just have to look down at this mountain that you've already climbed. You know, you have to validate your own journey, you have to validate your own story, you have to recognize the importance of your work, you know, the work that you have already done. Like, they have value, they have importance, and they're you know, that's your personal mountain that you climbed, and they mean something. They're not meaningless. So don't compare your mountain to another person's mountain. Don't feel like, oh, I've climbed a small mountain, but like that person has climbed like the Everest or something, and that person has defeated beasts and demons and goals like on his or her way up to that mountain. But maybe I just climbed this ladder, and you know, everybody's circumstances is different. Everybody has unique sets of challenges that set them apart. They each have their unique lessons to learn. So just don't play the comparison game. Just know that you are worthy, and your experience and journey has value, and you have something unique that only you can teach, only you can give. And the people who recognize that and who cherish you for that, they are your peeps. You know, they're your people, and there's a place for you in this world. So don't be frightened by the empty space. That empty space is all the potential, like everything that you can ever create. Like just think of it this way. It's like there's so many things that you haven't created yet, and they're all inside of you waiting to be born, waiting to come out. And I know it's hard being a physical human being sometimes because things don't manifest as fast as you want them to, but just think about all the wonderful things you're going to create, and that's amazing. That should be something something exciting, because just think about it, like you're never going to stop creating, you're never going to stop being the best of who you are, you're never going to stop bringing in new things into your life. There's just so much potential and so many possibilities and so many wonderful things that can happen. And 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 yeah, it's just this, just you know, just wide open. Keep yourself wide open to the magic that is going to happen and to the magic that you're going to create. All right, so that's my October monthly forecast reading. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find it helpful. And I did have to stop the camera at one point because where I actually stopped itself, because I could only record a clip that's like 25 to 26 minutes long, and before the memory, like before the file size gets too big. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the Hello Kitty. They glow in the dark. And yeah, again, so I hope you enjoyed the reading. I think I said that 3 times already, but yeah. September's ending, October's coming. I hope you have a wonderful month, and stay tuned for more videos in October. I'm probably going to put out a few more. Yeah, until next time.